Hey guys, this is John Watts, and I want to share with you a question that we get probably a couple times a month. And the exact details will differ, but our sort of prescription for how to fix this is very much the same. So here's a basic question. I have a problem with a local business. This might be a car dealership, a car repair place, somebody who's putting on a roof. I mean, whatever it is, okay? And they won't make it right. How do I convince them to do the right thing? So we're not talking about how do I file a lawsuit against these people. I mean, it might be $500, and I mean, you could always go to small claims court, but you're definitely not hiring a lawyer for something like that. And so, how do you try to encourage that business to do the right thing without you having to either get a lawyer involved or file a lawsuit? Here's our very, very simple solution. You write them a letter, a real letter. So I'm not talking about an email. I'm not talking about even faxing them a letter. I'm not talking about creating a letter, turning it into a PDF, attaching the PDF to an email. No, I'm talking about a real letter that you send by certified mail. So they have to sign for it. Okay. And I've talked about this in other videos. In our office, we have, it's a joke and it's a slight exaggeration, but it's also the truth that no good news comes by certified mail. So if you think about it, you get a certified mail letter from the IRS. Is that because they say, we're just so desperate for you to make sure you get your refund check? No, it's bad news, and they want to make sure they can prove that you got it. Same thing with, almost every other circumstance. Now, again, there are exceptions. There are times where, we might get a settlement check in by certified mail, but generally, certified mail is, I want you to get something, and I know you're going to lie about it, so I'm going to prove that you got it. That's sort of what certified mail is. So you send them a certified letter. So what do you put in that? Be very, very specific. There's just so much power in detail. So let me give you an example. If I wrote you a letter and said, I've really had a hard time getting in touch with you. I mean, I've called you all year long. What does that mean? Does that mean I called you once in January and once in October? What does that mean? Well, compare that to, hey, I've had trouble reaching you. I left you a voicemail on January the 15th and on February the 26th and on March the 4th and March the 18th. You see what I'm doing? It's a whole lot more powerful. Or even this. Let's take something much more recent in time. Yeah, I called you a bunch last week versus I called you at 12:33 p.m. on Monday. Okay, and I left a voicemail message that was 1 minute and 27 seconds long. Okay. I called you on Tuesday and spoke with your secretary and left a message. And then on Wednesday, see, that's a whole lot more powerful to do that. You say, well, how do you know this information? Well, if you're calling from your cell phone, as soon as you get done with your call, just pull up that call and it should have the detail. And what a lot of people do, and I think this is very smart, take a screenshot of it. So you got it. Okay, and then you can put that in Evernote or whatever you use to sort of keep up with stuff. But then you can go back, and there's just so much power in being very detailed. Well, what else do? We don't exaggerate. Okay, so if truthfully we've called this local mechanic place 5 times in the last year, well, let's don't put, I called you every day for the last year. Well, that's an exaggeration. Don't put, I called you 25 times. If I called you 5 times, put, I called you 5 times. And I mean, I'm sure there's a more fancy way of saying it. I'm just saying, don't do anything crazy in it, okay? Like, you got 4 different color ink in the letter and you've got exclamation marks all through it. Don't do that, okay? You want this letter for somebody to get it. First of all, they go, oh, it's certified mail. What's wrong with this person? They're like really, really serious about this. And then it's super specific. So if they can check everything you're saying, go, well, let me see if I got a call in. Because a lot of businesses track the calls. I know if somebody calls my phone number, we get an email. Here's the call that came in. Okay, so I've had people say, these are not clients, but potential clients that say, I've called you 27 times and you haven't called me back. And I'll get their phone number and I see, oh yeah, they called me on Saturday night at 11 p.m. They didn't leave a voicemail message. Okay? So the more specific you can be, where somebody can go back and check, because your letter may be going to somebody who's not involved, maybe going to the manager or the owner, and they go, okay, well, that's right. Okay. So, and then they go, well, not only is it correct, but this person isn't exaggerating. It doesn't seem like it's from a crazy person. It's got, 27 exclamation marks after every sentence. And it's just the facts. That's all it is, just laying out what happened. Now, that can include the facts of your visit to the car repair shop or to whatever we're talking about here. And it can include your efforts to fix the problem. So you say, I took my car in, and then here are the 7 calls I made to the service manager, and here's 3 emails that I sent. And so it can be not only the actual problem, but then your efforts to correct the problem. So the person reading it says, wow, everything checks out factually. There's no exaggeration. And I see they've made a tremendous effort here. And then enclose the documents. Okay, so don't make that person who's getting the letter have to go to this server or to this place or that place to try to figure it out. If you've got the information, just include it. Okay, so if you say, look, I sent 3 emails to the service manager, maybe you're talking to the general manager or the owner of a dealership, well, just print those emails out. Or here are my text messages. Just screenshot them, print them out. Email them to yourself, print them from your computer. But point is, just make it easy for that person. So they get this whole package, and every page they're flipping through going, oh, looks like we kind of messed this thing up. And just make it easy on them. So look, this is not a guarantee. There are plenty of jerks out there, plenty of disreputable businesses, plenty of people who don't care that they've mistreated you as a customer. And so this is not going to work all the time, but I tell you what, it's been tremendously effective. And we've been telling this to people for, 20 years. People come to us, say, I've got this problem, and they want to hire us. We say, look, you really don't need to hire me. I mean, it's just not enough money, it's not economical, or there's just, maybe you technically don't have a claim, but you certainly have been done wrong. And so we give people this advice, and most people that come back to us say, wow, that worked. It made them sort of take action. And so I just wanted to share this with you in case you're in this situation. So we're not talking about you're dealing with a mortgage company or a credit bureau or a debt collector. I mean, there we have specific laws. And there's a whole set of strategy that, do we include this? Do we not include that? What do we say? What do we not say? Sometimes we make phone calls instead of sending letters. But I'm just talking about the run-of-the-mill. You've got somebody, a local gym that didn't cancel your membership or didn't cancel the payment when you clearly canceled the membership. Here's a way that will generally work. And if it doesn't, then you may want to send another letter. Okay, again, you can be specific. Hey, I sent you that certified mail letter dated October 3rd. You got on October 8th. And then I made these 5 phone calls. And you list them and you didn't respond. Here's my second letter. But let's say that you ultimately do need to go to litigation. Okay, and let's say you're in small claims court and you don't have a lawyer. You're doing this on your own. I can tell you how generally this happens. People come in with sort of like a shoebox full of just junk. And they just hand it to the judge. They say, all my proof's there. The judge is like, I ain't looking through this. Okay. Compare that to, you say, Judge, I'll be glad to tell you what happened. I also have a letter where I laid it all out. I sent it to them by certified mail. And here's the proof that they got it. And I'll talk about that in a second. But you hand that to the judge, and now it's all neatly laid out. There's no exaggeration. It's very specific. Well, that small claims judge, at least in Alabama, I assume it's this way in most states, they're the ones making the decision about who's telling the truth. Well, that makes it much more credible when you're very specific and everything you talk about is backed up to the extent you can with documentation. So let's just talk logistics for a moment, and then I'll bring this video to an end. And my contact information's on here, 205-879-2447 or alabamaconsumer.com. But look, here's how you do it. You do the letter. And unless there's some urgency, let it sit there a day or two. Go back and read it. Have your wife read it. Have your husband read it. Have a friend read it. Okay? And edit that thing. And then read it out loud. It's amazing what looks great to our eye on the computer screen sounds terrible to our ear. You know, it's like, oh yeah, this thing is perfect. And then you read it out loud, you're like, wow, how could I have worded that so badly? And look, I'm talking from experience. I mean, I submit a lot of stuff to federal judges, and you know, I'll edit it and think, okay, this is pretty good. Then I read it out loud and I go, well, that was confusing. You know, what was I thinking then? So read it out loud and make it as good as you can. Print out 2 copies, at least 2 copies. Okay, sign both of them. Attach all the documents to both of them, even though you're only going to mail one. Okay, and then the one that you mail, put in an envelope and go mail it, certified mail. What about the other one? Well, you scan that in. And somebody says, well, I've already got the Word document or the Google doc. I don't care. Scan it in. Okay, this is my suggestion. Obviously, you do whatever you want, but have a hard copy, scan it in, it's signed. So nobody can go, well, you changed the Word or you changed the Google Doc. You go, no, I print out 2. I put one in the envelope and I put one in a manila folder. Okay. When you get the green card back or whatever your proof is, a certified mail, make sure you've got that scanned in. And then attach that. I just physically staple it to your letter. And so if the company says, you never sent us anything, you go, yeah, I got the green card. Well, your letter said we were the greatest company ever. No, actually, this is my letter. And it's got all my attachments. Because what a lot of times people will do is they'll say, yeah, here's a letter I sent, and it's on their Word or Google Doc. And I go, well, what attachments did you send with it? Well, you know, it's a good question. I think I probably did. Well, just don't do that. Just print out another set of the attachments and have those physically attached to your physical letter, okay, that you signed. And so you've got one whole set goes out and then one remains at your house or your office. And this just makes it easy, because if the company says, hey, we got a package from you, but it was completely damaged, we can't read it, you go, no problem. I got an exact duplicate copy here. And you send it out. If you need to send a follow-up letter, it's real easy. You can go, you know, I sent the first letter, parentheses, attached or enclosed here with all the attachments. And so anyway, I hope that makes sense and that this is helpful to you. And hey, as always, thanks for watching the videos. If you like them, that's great. If you want to subscribe to our channel, that's wonderful. And we'll keep putting out the videos, and definitely always feel free to give us suggestions and we'll try to work those in. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.